Hey there, welcome to another episode of Tales from the Podcast. As you see, we're going to be having some changes coming up. We're going to be kind of adjusting to a new work schedule of mine. And, starting next week, the show will be moved to Saturday at the same time, 10 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully it's not a problem. If not, you can always just catch it on the rewatch. It's still just as fucking enjoyable. Before I get into the episode today, though, I do want to go ahead and share a few things. First off, one of our sponsors selling some really, really lovely little wax melts here, and check her out. Awesome woman. And you see the Etsy there link, as well as our code TFTP20 to save 20% off. And Sydney, the woman who's going ahead and doing all this stuff, she also has a really cool YouTube page that's starting to blow up a little bit now. So if you're in a true crime podcast, check out some of the stuff that she has going on over there too, and just indulge a little bit. It's fun, it's nice, it's cool to support other people too. That's for damn sure. And also, do not forget, if you like comic books, check out the Tales of Shock and Terror page. You can get to that link over there if you go to talesfromthepodcast.com. It's right there. And enjoy yourself some nice little horror comic books. But that's enough of talking about what I do. Let me go ahead and introduce a man, a great man, a man who does so much. It's insane. When I met this man, he mostly liked to talk about cooking. And it's just crazy how much his life has changed because, man, now it's like all he wants to talk about is wiener. Anyways, here is my good pal, Andy Imhof.
How did I know that was coming? How did I?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. And don't think I didn't notice that beard is looking beautiful. Anybody who's listening to the podcast, you got to come over and check out the live stream sometime because Justin is full on rocking the full beard. It's not quite as glorious as mine. I don't think it's hubristic to say that, but you're getting there.
I will say that obviously there are some very large differences between mine and yours. I feel like you have a very sophisticated beard, while mine is like I just stretched and crawled out of a cave.
Yeah.
Like it's just like all over the fucking place. There's really like no matter what I do, it doesn't go that way. And I'm very jealous. You do a great job. Your beard looks amazing. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you this right now, though. You've got a rambling man's beard.
Oh, I do. I do. They used to tell me when I was younger that I was gonna grow up to be a rambling man.
Yeah. I believe it. You have the look right now of someone that could easily just tell their wife, "I'd love to see you again, but I'm stuck in colder weather."
Yeah.
I was born a rambling man, baby. You knew that when you married me. and got the kids and the cats and the dog.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%, dude. I will say that just because the way it grows, though, I mean, I have, if you look at like my shower, I actually have to clean my shower out after a
Mhm.
shower from all of the, I work in a steel mill, all of the, the slag and steel that just like covers the entire bottom of it. So it's like, wow, man, this thing really collects. It's like a really
Mhm.
fucking large filter. But
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. Oh, I
yeah.
believe it. And
Oh,
speaking of, by the way, I think you should reprise your fake band. As much as I love your fake band, I really do, but I think you need to change it. And can I be the first to make a suggestion?
yes, 100% you can.
The Slag Mill Sinners.
Slag Mill Centers. I like it. I like it.
You could be folksy. It would be like rock, but it gives you the flexibility to like throw maybe some outlaw country in there with a heavy bass back in it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, what if
I
you
like that. I like
ask
that.
well, ask Chuck about this. Ask him if he's ever considered chucking some pun intended bass strings into a banjo. See how that sounds.
Yeah, I don't. I'm probably not going to be able to talk him out of naming his band and stuff, so he would still kind of like have that really good match of the legitimate sons of a Jesus pig.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm sure I could figure something out with that. That's for sure. In
Sure.
fact, talking about the band, here's Ron. He also
Hey,
talks
there he
about
is.
cooking his wiener in a car. No,
That is a fat. Well, I'm a fat guy living in South Florida, so yeah,
that's
Ron
very
knows.
possible. That is.
Yeah,
That it definitely is. That's for damn sure.
I
So,
was going to ask
how is
you.
Florida doing for you, man?
It's going pretty good, dude. I was actually super pumped because we were supposed to have some massive thunderstorms rolling through, and I was really excited about it because, listen, I grew up in Oregon, rains there 90% of the time. We
Oh
now
yeah.
live in an area of Florida where we get 165 more days of sunshine than the area of Oregon I was living in,
Oh
and
god.
so it's sunny all the time, and it's not that I miss the rain. I actually hated the rain all the time, every single day, and the gray skies and just the look. It had a horrible feeling. However, I do look. I do kind of enjoy the rain when it comes through. It's a different kind. There's lots of lightning. There's lots of thunder. It's rolling in off of the Gulf. It's there's a beautiful, natural feel to it, and it's something that I can now appreciate because we live in such a sunny area. But no, that son of a bitch decided, hey, the winds are changing. I'm just going to miss you completely. And so we had nothing but 88 degrees and sunshiny weather. And I'm a little bit pissed about it.
Oh man, I hate sunshine. It sounds so horrible to say out loud. It's like, man, I love really cloudy, rainy days with a really heavy breeze. Like,
Really?
well, it gets really hot at a
Yeah.
slag. Like, if I get rid of the sun, get a nice breeze in there, a little
Mhm.
bit of rain to cool down all the molten metal around you. It's a
Oh,
yeah, yeah. A lot of people forget what that is.
that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Have you experienced it yet where you're watching slag come down the conveyor belt and it's steaming as the rain's hitting it? Has that happened yet?
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
so cool. That would be awesome to see.
yeah. I think the coolest thing that not everybody gets to see is when you go in at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they are dumping these huge pots. And when these pots hit, it lights up the fucking sky like it's noon, except it's not noon. So it's insane. It's insane. But we're here to talk about some tales from the crypt, buddy.
Yeah.
We are, and it's man, we've been doing this a while, having you on here for me and everything, and talking about some of this shit.
I should have told you this before, but
You
it's
didn't
something
watch
that
it, did you?
I just realized this a year ago today. I did a Tales from the Crypt with you, and it wasn't even my first appearance. It was like my fourth or fifth appearance.
Hey, I mean, I will fully admit that since our first appearance and everything, I mean, it's definitely blossomed into a real friendship,
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
it's very very fun, and I'm excited with the way life has taken me with it and everything, and being able to give me people like you to be like, yeah, this guy is my fucking buddy. And doing stuff like this is always a fucking blast for me personally. I truly, truly do enjoy it. That's for damn sure.
Well, if it wasn't a blast for me, I wouldn't keep coming on. I really enjoy doing this show with you, and it's always interesting the episodes that you send to me. And somewhat famously, for people who've listened to this pod a long time, I made an offhanded joke about how you always give me the shitty episodes, and you've never let me forget it. And
you're right. I never did let you forget that.
I am happy to say that this episode embraced its mediocrity. And it wasn't good. It wasn't bad. I found it entertaining. I like all the characters that were in it. And actually, not only the actors, but the director, fairly big name, if not for their direction for other things that they've done. And when I saw this and I saw the cast of characters, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to be a bad one. It doesn't matter like if it's fully fleshed out or not. It's not going to be bad. So I went into it with an expectation of basically wanting it to be like a 5 out of 10 or better, and it exceeded my expectations.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, if you go into any Tales from the Crypt episode expecting a 5 out of 10, I'd like to think that 90% of the time it's going to exceed that.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go ahead and just, I guess, jump into this episode a little bit. So we're going to be talking about the episode from season 5, episode 12, Halfway Horrible. And this is based off of the Vault of Horror issue number 26. And this episode originally aired December 1st, 1993. We'll see here. We got our director is Gregory Whitten. Probably best known for stuff like Prophecy, Highlander. Probably Highlander more than anything.
As a writer, not a director, but he was the writer on original Highlander.
Yeah, which is a pretty big deal.
Oh, huge.
He did direct the Prophecy, though.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
But he was also a writer on the Highlander TV series, which I'll be honest with you, a personal favorite of mine. Anytime a 90s show ran 6 seasons, it's because it was raking in the views. And I understand.
I don't think he was a writer though for it. Like, I know where you're going with it. Like, but usually when you have like a writer for a TV show, it'd be like, oh, screenplay for this episode, blah 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 blah. Correct me. If I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. But I'm pretty sure he's just credited for the character story creation from the original story arc. Kind of like when there's a remake, the original people for the writers always have a credit there for the creation of the characters and stuff like that. I think he kind of falls into that boat because I believe he's credited for writing every episode of the show, which he might be an amazing writer, but I've never seen one writer who wrote every episode of an entire series, which would be amazing. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if it's possible.
Well, I'm probably screwing that up here. I thought he was just a character writer, like an advisor.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, it is possible. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I just, I don't know.
But either way, the royalties are rolling in for him.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah, they are.
Our man Greg, he's set for life. Like his first big hit, The Highlander, that definitely is carrying him. And when I bootleg the Highlander TV series later on, I am definitely going to feel bad that he's not getting royalties from it. I will feel bad.
I've understood the appeal of Highlander my whole life, but I will say Highlander is not my favorite work of art from him, especially considering the fucking Prophecy.
Yeah.
I personally really had a lot of fun with the Prophecy. Maybe it's because I really like Christopher Walken. Who knows? But it was a lot more fun for me personally. David's chiming in. Go ahead.
You're into the horror genre, which is fine, but
I don't even know if the Prophecy is really. It's like barely on the verge of horror.
Well, but you know what's not horror, period, is Backdraft. He was the writer of that movie, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Kurt
That
Russell
is
was
true.
fantastic in that movie.
Well, yes. I mean, is there anything he really isn't that great in?
No, I mean, Kurt Russell's just one of those. Well, his early stuff, the Disney movies, I'll never watch those again.
Yeah, all
In
right.
his,
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
in his adult career, though, I've really liked him as an actor. And every single day I wake up praying that he's not saying something stupid on social media that's going to make me hate him.
Or he gets canceled.
Or he's trying to cancel other people.
Yeah, that's fair. What's your favorite Kurt Russell role?
I'm going back to the 90s. Soldier. I fucking love that movie. I love it. I'm being dead serious. That's because he doesn't hardly say anything in that movie. He's got something like 20 lines in the whole movie, probably not even that many. And most of his lines are just, single words or saying yes, sir, no, sir, stuff like that. But he conveys so much just through sort of like his persona and his facial expressions. And I like when actors are able to do that, Mr. Bean is an incredibly impressive actor because he can convey so much just through his facial expressions. And so when you
I don't
have
even think it's his facial expressions. I think all of his emotions expressed through his eyebrows.
The two caterpillars that he glues onto his face, I gotcha. Yeah,
right. Him and Eugene Levy. They just everything is through the eyebrows.
Another underrated actor. I like Eugene Levy and stuff. I wish he could have done, especially later in his career. I wish Eugene Levy would have done some more bad guy roles. I think that would have been awesome.
Yeah, I don't.
No, you don't think so?
I just like earlier in his career, I could really see the appeal of somebody like him, but like later on, it's like that kind of bad guy quit being like a bad guy. Like I get it though. I will say though, I 100% agree with Jake. Mine is Big Trouble Little China.
Ooh, yeah.
I would say closely followed by The Thing, but I fucking love The Thing too. I mean, that's almost a perfect fucking movie.
That is honest. A good ass film. That is a good ass film.
Yeah, definitely. And David, I mean, I like this character Snake Plissken from Escape from New York.
Oh my god, how did I forget about Escape from New York? Yes.
Yeah. And let's also be honest, fucking They Live.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. You know what's really weird? That Kurt Russell is not in this episode, guys.
You can blame me. I'm going off on a whole tangent. You know who is in this episode? Another one of my favorite actors, actually.
Let me guess, Clancy Brown.
Fucking love that dude. Fucking love that dude.
Was that the one you were going to say, or were you going to go with Cheech?
No, Clancy Brown, dude. He is a gigantic slice of man meat. The dude is 6'3". He obviously, he played the antagonist in Highlander and was very good in that.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing to me.
He was the Starship Troopers. I mean,
fuck yeah.
I love that movie.
Shawshank
that
Redemption?
Piece of shit fucking what was that fucking one? The remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. That total fucking piece of shit.
I did not see that one.
Oh god, it's bad.
I'm a fan of his, but I'm not going to subject myself to that.
I don't blame you. I mean, the dude's done a lot of character acting though too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me personally, I'm a I know it's going back to like what we were talking about earlier with Disney stuff, but like the old Gargoyle series. He did some voices on there, and if you watch this show, I'm a fan of voiceover work. Especially, let's go ahead and throw it out there. This man right here, Andy, does some amazing voiceover work. You guys really have to check that out.
I did bring you a couple of new commercials that I've done recently. Would you like me to play one for you?
Oh my god, yes.
Sure. You've heard these before, but I don't think your audience has.
Probably not.
Do you constantly feel irritable and get upset at the slightest inconvenience? Do you feel like making your problems everyone else's problem too? Finally, you can find relief with Myphallus. Myphallus can be applied orally, vaginally, or rectally to calm nerves and help dull the pain of your pathetic existence. Ask your doctor if my phallus is right for you. Side effects may include but are not limited to nausea, vomiting, unwanted pregnancy, catching the feels, and spontaneous combustion. We know that life can be long and hard. Try my phallus today and watch your worries get pumped away.
So that's just a taste. That's a sampling of what I'm able to do for folks. That was a pharmaceutical company. I don't know what's happening with that pill. I assume it's a suppository. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, that one could be administered. You could take that one anyway. I mean, orally, vaginally, or anally. Rob, you have no idea what you're missing. Like, if I go through my Facebook messages and scroll, I probably have like a good 15 commercials in there that are just make you fucking piss your pants, fucking hilarious.
Oh, I've got another one pulled up if you want to hear it.
You know damn well they do.
All right, good.
Penetrol Personal Engine
Knew it was gonna be
Lubricant.
this one.
Penetrol, the only motor oil you'll ever need. Penetrol. Extend your engine's life. Penetrol. And prevent premature detonation. Penetrol. Apply liberally to any surface that spins, bounces, thrusts, or pumps. Penetrol. Whether you're riding a compact four-banger or a full-sized big block Chevy. Penetrol. Penetrol Personal Engine Lubricant. Penetrol. Get your motor running.
All right, so I have to admit there were some innuendos in there that are going to go over people's heads if they're not car people. A big block Chevy, the like abbreviated version of that is just for people to say BBC. So take it in the spirit with which it's intended.
Yeah, I think this audience actually does get it. It's what it seems like, and it's still great. I like I said, I love your voiceover work. I remember the first one I heard from you was the what was it, the F-150.
Oh yes,
That was one of the first ones, and oh god, did that fucking kill me.
I couldn't help myself because the Ford Lightning introduction video was just so cheesy, and I was like, well, I'm chopping this son of a bitch up and making fun of it. Hey, and by the way, I've totally got us off in the weeds. I apologize. We have one thing that we have not mentioned about Clancy Brown. I would say it's probably his best known character. You can disagree with me if you want.
Okay.
But he is Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob.
Yeah, that might be. I mean, let's be honest. It's probably his longest running role.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know he did like Sleepy Hollow. I mean, dude's done a bunch of shit. I mean, he's
still doing a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I mean, like you're talking about somebody who's done like 300 something roles.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from one-offs on movies to full blown fucking TV shows. I mean, he's been in some real fucking pieces of shit too. Let's also be honest there. Like, but still, he's not a bad actor though. I mean, it's hard to say anything really bad about the dude.
I have a question for you real quick.
Yes.
Saying that he's been in a bunch of pieces of shit too. I feel like that applies to almost every 80s actor.
Yeah.
Because man, there were some stinkers in the 80s, and it's amazing to me like how garbage some movies are that actually have big name people in them.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot of crap in the 90s too, though. Like, let's be honest, like Flubber, shit like that. So I mean, it is what it is.
I had blocked that from my memory. Thank you for bringing that back.
You're welcome. What can I do, man? I mean, you are welcome.
Well, who's the next guy we're talking about? Martin Cove.
Oh yeah, so we do get a Martin Cove in this ending too. I
feel like some people might not recognize that name. So,
well, you're gonna recognize the fucking face.
You're gonna recognize the face. And what was his name in the Karate Kid?
Kreese.
Yes. Sensei Kreese.
Yes. He was also in probably one of the greatest movie titles ever, Rambo: First Blood Part 2. So I mean, the guy's been in a bunch of shit, and let's be honest, like he's been working forever.
Yeah.
But over the last few years, his career was total fucking shit all the way until they started doing more Karate Kid shit.
You're going to sit there and tell me that Elvis from Outer Space is a bad movie? How dare you? You're going to tell me that A Karate Christmas Miracle was a bad movie?
It's a wrestling Christmas miracle, but yes.
Well, IMDb credits him for A Karate Christmas Miracle. But
you know what? Then A Wrestling Christmas Miracle must be the sequel because that is also on there.
God, that's so bad. Wow. Martin, what are you doing, bro?
I fucking love that. But I mean, like, oh, God. I mean, going all the way back with this guy's history and everything. I mean,
oh my God, he was in a movie called The Extendables. Holy shit.
Dude, it's bad.
It's so bad.
It's really, really bad for this guy. Like, oh man, dude. Like, the Cobra Kai series really made it where this guy could probably afford a regular apartment. Like, it's
wow,
really
that
bad.
is so spot on in California.
Yeah. I mean, you look at his credits, it's like he hasn't done enough for anything. Like, all right, like look at that. Black Scorpion Returns.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about the Black Scorpion movies? Have you ever seen any of that stuff?
I've never watched any of them.
Okay, well, it's basically borderline sleazy, half porno kind of thing.
So it's like horror softcore.
It's just, it's like superhero, super softcore.
Oh, I gotcha.
And from the 90s kind of softcore. And that's the kind of shit that he was doing, was that kind of shit. So it's like, you know, fuck, dude. He was even in Crocodile 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's bad. It's
I have
really
a working
bad.
theory. JB.
All right, let's hear it.
He's too manly for Hollywood. The dude's got 3 black belts.
Yeah, all right. I can hear you.
Just imagine what ended his career, right? He's going in to try out for Kindergarten Cop, right? And he says, if you don't give me this role, I'm going to kick your ass. And then he smashes their desk in half with just like a karate chop.
Right.
Ruined his career.
Probably did. I could see him walking in for things and them just being like, well, I don't think you had the face for this role. Like, let's be honest, like Karate Kid stuff and everything, you know, aside, like he's a good actor when it comes to that role. But he is a very ugly man. There's not many roles that are made for somebody with that face. You know, basically, like, I don't know about you, but like, I can see him in other stuff, but every time I see him, I see crease.
Sure.
I see, you know, Karate Kid movies. That's all I can fucking see. You know, but that's just my opinion on that one, I guess.
Yeah, it's sort of like when you see Hayden Christensen in something, and all you see is just the whiny, snot-nosed Anakin, right? Yeah. You can't get past it, right?
It's as a huge Star Wars fan, man. I mean, I don't really have like a really good thing to say about that.
Yeah. Well, if Martin Kove had been born just like 2 decades earlier, I think he would have become like a big Western star, because I think he does have kind of that rough exterior that would have made him a good like Bruce Dern-esque bad guy in Westerns. So he might have just missed his window. Right.
Well, I think the time period right there would also help him a lot, because I mean, you would have things that were filmed in very, very low def, so you wouldn't have.
You really don't find this guy attractive, do you?
You know, I mean, he's somebody who looks better in Technicolor.
All right, man. We're 30 minutes in, so you better stop me.
Yeah.
Curb
All
my
right.
enthusiasm, please.
So we also have Costas Mandalore. I
Ooh.
think that's how you say his name. As Dan King in this episode. Um, probably best known for his roles with the Saw franchise. He does have a lot of credits, but he has a very it's weird the credits that he has because like no joke, his first like 20 credits are all announced pre-production, post-production, non-released movies.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's actually have a a pretty cool little like a sci-fi slash like horrorish, not horrorish, but like horror-ish type of roles that he's done, which is pretty cool. A lot of little shorts that he's done. I mean, like I can say that other than the Saw franchise, though, it's not like he really did anything huge. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, in my opinion, that's kind of like where I sit with him on that.
But coming back around, just I want to just say this one more time. When you land a huge franchise like that, fuck, bro, if I was an actor and I had gotten cast in Lord of the Rings and I did all 3 of them, I would just I would buy a fucking ranch in Montana and you'd never hear from me again. I would never have any more acting credits. I might do a few VOs from my home. You can listen to my podcast where I tell people about my goats and my horses. I literally I would cash those checks as they rolled in. It's enough for a mortgage on a 50-acre ranch, and you never hear from me again. So, I feel like a dude like that, if he's smart, man, he's taking those royalty checks from the Saw franchise and just banking them. That's
all right. First off, he was in some of the later Saw movies, so I don't think the royalty checks are as good.
All right, fair enough. Still, $600 a month. Some people live on less.
It beats Social Security. No, it's like, but no. I mean, I don't know. Just me personally. I mean, there's really not a lot special with the guy. But he is a good actor in this episode. I give him that. To go ahead and continue this on, we got Charles Martin Smith in this episode as well. Probably best known for Dolphin Tale. No, probably American Graffiti. But he's been in quite a bit, though. I mean, a lot of TV shows. I remember this is old, and I'm probably one of the only people that remember it. But I think he did some of the voices of the Goosebumps Escape from Horrorland video game back in like the mid '90s. But I mean, he's still done a little bit of decent work here and there. He was in one of your favorite movies, Trick or Treat, from the '80s. But I mean, overall though, I mean, not too much, but still fun. Trying to think who else we got in this right here. We got John Tenney in this episode as well, and we also let's see, did John Tenney even do anything good? Legion, Beverly Hills Cop 3. Oh, he was in Tombstone. Yeah, I mean, he's done a few things that are pretty cool, I guess. True Detective, he was Alan Jones. So, I mean, he's been around. That's for damn sure. We got Brian Wimmer in this as well. Brian he was in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which was a really, really good one. I like those early Nightmare on Elm Street films myself. He didn't really do too much acting, though. I think he only did like 50-something roles. I mean, it was pretty short-lived. I know that he did Tank Girl.
Ooh, classic.
So, yeah.
A classic, but still a classic.
It's a fun watch. I don't care who you are. I mean, it's just a fun watch. It's kind of like I don't know. Every time I've watched Tank Girl, it always reminded me of What is the name of that fucking kids show? Oh god, I can't think of it. With the God damn it, what the hell is the name of that? I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Stranger Things.
No.
All that.
No. It's a kids movie from a while back. Here we go. Warriors of Virtue.
Oh yeah.
Tank Girl reminded me of more of like an adult version of that. But I loved Warriors of Virtue. In fact, I'm before a good friend of mine passed away a while back. That was one of the things that he and I were very, very we bonded very big on, is the fact that I owned not just Warriors of Virtue, but there's a sequel. It's not good at all.
I have to admit to you, I've never actually watched Warriors of Virtue. That's totally new to me. If you say it's good, I will put it on my to watch list. Because
It is a kids movie.
Okay.
It's a kids martial arts movie, and the martial art masters are kangaroos. So it's kind of like Ninja Turtles if they were really lame.
Got it.
But it's a lot of fun. I
Were,
had fun with it personally.
so instead of like turtle suits, it's fursuits basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's let me see if I can find any still shots of it and everything, and kind of upload one so you can actually see what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to this. This is a shitty fucking movie, but I think it's one of those where it's like I like it because I grew up with it type things. You know what I mean? There's just nothing very cool about the movie itself. It's just a fun watch, and like I said, I think it's just one of those where it's the nostalgia of my life in general. I got one of the posters here uploading so I can show you what it is. And
well, let me just ask you this real quick. I know that you don't smoke anymore, but I have my medical card here in Florida. Okay. So is this and I'm a lightweight, is this going to be a 5 milligram show or a 10 milligram show?
Doing edibles? Ooh. When you do a 10 milligram, how fast does it take you to pass out?
I'll be passed out in 3 hours.
I say do a 10 milligram one, about halfway through, pop another like 5.
Gotcha. Okay. Fucking shit. What am I thinking? Oh my gosh, that's so bad.
Oh, dude, I love it.
What was that movie where Ice-T played a character and he was in like a kangaroo suit or something?
Was Ice-T in a kangaroo suit?
Dude, he totally was. It was a movie from like the late 80s or early 90s. It's escaping me right now, but that's what that looked like unholy, horrible.
Why am I thinking? Why am I thinking? I know it's not Ice-T, but was that Kangaroo Jack? Oh no, I know what you're talking about. Oh my god. What was the fucking name of that movie? No, it was Tank Girl.
That was in Tank Girl.
Yeah, that was in Tank Girl.
Okay, that's where that connection comes from.
So that's what brought this whole thing on. I was talking about Tank Girl.
So before we move on, I do want to mention one thing. Have you ever watched the movie Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Yes.
I've watched it once. I'll probably never watch it again.
I've seen it probably about 20 times.
Oh, wow. So I just offended. I apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
But the art style in Scott Pilgrim, I think, takes heavily from Tank Girl.
Yeah, I can see that.
No, yes, no. I mean, you've
no.
I
see where you're going with that. I watched Scott Pilgrim more than probably most because of comic books.
Fair.
because it was a comic book. So I mean, there was that whole aspect of it. So I mean, it's
But Tank Girl
I
was
see it
too,
though.
wasn't it? Wasn't
Huh?
Tank Girl was a comic book too, right?
I'm not sure if Tank Girl was.
I could be mixing that up. I thought it was, or maybe it was just supposed to be made in like the style of a comic book. Someone that
Well, there
really
is a Tank Girl comic book, but then it's about like because like I'm seeing like all these Tank Girl comic books, and I mean their release dates in like the 2000s. So I mean, let's see
okay.
here, like Tank Girl the Odyssey was published in '95. Right here. The strips were reprinted in '91. Yes, Tank Girl was 100% a comic book before a film. Then
Okay.
we're talking about the original publication was 1988, so that would make Tank Girl as old as me. Today's Bud Talk on Tales from the Podcast.
Hey, I'm glad
You're
that you
right.
brought up Bud, by the way, because the last person of consequence that's in this episode is Cheech Marin,
Oh yes,
who pops in and plays the strangest character. Like that was totally off the wall for me.
But he does a very good job with it.
He does a great job, but
Like
it was
it's
totally unexpected.
Yeah, he's one of those where I feel like I probably don't really need to explain him either. Like, obviously, everyone knows him from Dusk Till Dawn, right?
Yeah.
No, it's the Cheech and Chong movies and Born in like East LA, shit like that. And the
Such
dude's
a
still
movie.
making shit too. I mean, the guy's was it him? I think it was, yeah, who was in like Golden Palace.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Golden Girls spinoff in the hotel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him.
Can't say I ever watched it. Sorry.
Yeah, I married an old lady, so I mean,
When you call her your old lady, you're being accurate.
well, I mean, I joke with her all the time like that. So I mean, it's fine. She's used to it by now.
I will say once in a while I do go back.
Oh my
and listen
god, he
to
was in
the-
Fern Gully. That motherfucker. That movie fucked up my childhood.
Oh,
And
all
yes,
of
he
those
was in
movies did.
Golden Palace. That was right.
Fern Gully, Brave Little Toaster,
Yeah.
what's the Land Before Time, like all of those ruined me. And people ask, like, why are Gen Xers and millennials like so nihilistic? Look at the media we were watching.
Yeah, that's true.
Secret of Nim. I have a distinct memory of telling the daycare that I was staying at when I was a kid, I do not want to watch this movie. Secret of Nim and The Great Mouse Detective. Those movies fucked me up. Okay, fucked me up. In The Great Mouse Detective, when the rat throws the knife and it stabs into the other rat's back, and he's like, and blood, and he falls off of the edge. I was 8, and I was like, what am I watching right now? And I got in trouble. I got suspended from that daycare for like a week because I refused to watch the movie, and they were just like, listen here, you little motherfucker, we're not going to watch you, so you either have your face pointed at that screen or you're out of here. And I was just like, no, I don't want to watch it.
Cartoons for us were weird. And then
They're
there were
rough.
just the regular movies and stuff that we were just watching at the times too. Like we had movies about Labyrinth, and like we have David Bowie going out stealing fucking babies,
and having his fucking 12-inch package stuffed in our face. I've been traumatized by that my entire life. He's moving that crystal ball around, and I'm glad he's doing it because finally something is taking my eyes as a child
away
off
from
of his
dick.
Fucking 12-inch summer sausage dick that's stuffed down one leg of his height. I was just
man,
what am I even looking at here? It's no wonder so many of us are gay. That was our introduction. Dude's got the fucking schmeat, and he was like 90 pounds.
I will say though, that was also the first musical where I can go back and sit there and think about it and be like, you know what? I think I know every song from Labyrinth. I watched that movie way too much growing up. Certain things start getting pieced together. It's like, you know what? Diamond Dogs was my first cassette. For all you kids watching, that's what media was like before CDs and MP3s. Yep.
My first cassette was Weird Al, Dare to Be Stupid.
That's fair. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't think Diamond Dogs was a bad one to have as my first one.
No, not at all. Good choices.
Thank you. It's not as good as my first CD going with Marilyn Manson. But yeah, right at the height of him where he was being blamed for Columbine and everything else. So yeah, one of those things.
Nice.
Let's see. We got David chiming in here. One of the scariest cartoons is Watership Down. I don't think I ever saw that one.
I don't think I have either.
No. But anyways, we are 46 minutes into this episode roughly. So let's go ahead and talk about this episode. And I'm going to make it pretty quick.
You told me you were going to stay awake.
I did.
You took the gloves off.
I did.
I came in here. I had handcuffs.
Am I complaining?
No, you're not. I'm just saying.
I just wanted to make sure you knew that. But anyways, this episode is all right, let's see like the best way of describing this episode. IMBD has it as the owners of a chemical company's sinister past dealings come back to haunt him when he identifies the body of a business associate. And that's kind of what we have going on here. And it leads to our main character there, who is Roger Layson, Mr. Layson. Yep. And he owns a chemical company. And we get these like little flashback kind of scenes of him in like the they really don't say is it it's the rainforest. Whichever rainforest it may be, it is the rainforest.
It's somewhere in Brazil.
I'm assuming in the early 90s there was only one rainforest. It took us another 10 more years to destroy the rainforest enough where there was like 5 of them. Yeah. So we split it off by then. But back in the day, there was only one. And that's where he was. And he was basically trying to, what was he doing? Like these voodoo-ish kind of rituals, and they were figuring out ways of like doing preservation. And at the time during the rituals that you see, it's on humans, but this chemical company is able to kind of adapt it towards food, clothing, etc. Trying to make things kind of just like last forever, which, I will say first off, very unrealistic for a chemical company to be like, let's make everything last forever. No. The world went like the opposite direction. We're like, hey, let's make everything last 2 minutes so you have to buy it a bunch of times.
Planned obsolescence. That's what they call it in the business.
Yeah, basically. And we got a question here. Do y'all consider Blues Brothers a musical?
I always tell people I hate musicals and I will never watch one of my own accord, but Jake might have a point.
I don't know if I would consider that a musical, though. I mean, there is music in it and they're singing in it, but it's not like Across the Universe or Rocky Horror Picture where it's all music. I mean,
it's about musicians, so it's not just random characters breaking out in song.
I would say my personal opinion on this one, Andy, is that Blues Brothers is a fun comedy based on musicians with an amazing soundtrack.
I'm going to give you that one. I'm thinking back to, they're in the music shop. Ray Charles is there and they break out into song and dance. They're in the diner and Aretha Franklin's there. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words.
No, you're fine.
And they break out into song and dance there. So, I mean, there's some, and when they go into the church, but the church, it's playing music. It's, I don't know. It's kind of a, I don't really want to call it a musical because it's not.
The whole thing's there's not music tied between every scene,
and they acknowledge it. Like, I feel like a musical, they have to just kind of move on and pretend that the music didn't just happen. Whereas in the Blues Brothers, they
acknowledge every fucking time.
Yeah, because they're musicians.
Yeah, that's what So that's how I would at least put that one personally.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I'm not like Andy. I don't know. I really don't like most musicals, but the ones I do like, I really like.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like Rocky Horror. I mean,
or the
that's
Warriors of Virtue.
Warriors of Virtue. I wish was a musical. Oh my god, dude! Like, I if anybody watches that movie or has seen Warriors of Virtue, please message me your thoughts on it, because I mean, I've been going on. I'm in my mid-30s now, and I have met one other person in my entire life who has watched that movie that I was able to talk to about it. And it's a fun one. It is. It's
just
not
for
a good
you,
one, but a fun one.
I'm gonna watch it now, and we are going to sit and talk about it.
I don't know where you can watch it, to be fair.
I've got the hookup.
I was gonna say, worst case scenario, I digitally cataloged all my DVDs and I'll send it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But
No, it's fine. So I have a website that I use because I have a VPN, and so I get to get on a bootleg movie site, and that's where I watch. To be honest, that's where I watch most of my shit. So like right now, my wife and I are watching through the TV show Suits, and
never seen
so it's pretty good. We're kind of sucked into it right now. But I just finished Star Trek Enterprise and Burn Notice, and I watch them all for free because when you have a VPN, it kind of opens some doors for you.
Right.
I'm just throwing that out there. One more
I
question
do
for
have
you.
a VPN, but I also have a bunch of streaming services. But I also have young kids.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Can we consider they don't tell the story with their songs? Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So would we consider like Disney cartoons? I'm thinking, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. Are those musicals? They're animated movies, but could they fall into a musical category?
That one would be a little bit tougher because, like, I mean,
Because there's exposition there, I mean, think about
there
Aladdin.
is, and I mean the amount of songs that you're getting to is just like at a higher level than.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be like borderline to like and it would be an animation musical, like, for sure.
I
You
think we
know,
need to classify them that way.
like, I mean, it's not all of the Disney movies, but like Aladdin, like
Mhm.
100% Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, I mean, god
Hunchback of
damn,
Notre Dame too.
probably. I mean,
Mhm.
like, all those classics would probably fit in with a musical setting.
Yeah.
I mean, they would be at like the lower tier
Yeah.
of it. But I mean, let's be honest too. I mean, some of those musicals are not musicals, but some of the songs from those things and those Disney movies have made millions and millions of dollars just off the music.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a good choice if you're able to pull it off. I mean, what they did with fucking Frozen was, you like it or not. I mean, they were cashing checks bigger than you can imagine.
And the gal that was the main actor for Elsa, she went on a musical tour. Like she went and did concerts and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
David Wilt, he says he likes Snow White. That's another one. So I don't know.
yeah.
It's an interesting concept to think about. I know it's
No,
way off topic, but
no, you're right. You're right though. I mean, it's definitely not wrong. But
clearly this entire episode is just me like rambling. I apologize. I can show you my ass. Shining, shimmering, splendid.
I
Don't
like
you
the.
dare close your eyes.
I won't. I will not close my eyes. I was gonna offer to let you borrow my Manscaped stuff.
That fucking lawnmower 3.0, baby. I could use that because right now, um, wiping after a number two is like trying to clean chunky peanut butter out of shag carpet. I mean, it's bad. So,
I will throw this out there
yeah.
for anybody who is ever interested in the Manscaped stuff, who was a sponsor of the show and everything before I kind of got sick of the way they do things.
Mm.
Because you have to have so many basically, like when you're doing anything with them, like it's like the first line of every fucking post that you make has to be about us before you can write anything about you and all this other stupid bullshit. But I will say that I only have the Manscaped 2.0 now because the 3.0 that all like advertises waterproof is not waterproof. So I will
Ouch.
let you know that right now. Their products were great until their new ones kind of fucking sucked.
They're good until they're not. That's a problem.
Yeah. Jake Scott Bakula ruined the franchise. And we got our buddy Chuck here. Hey guys, thanks for the image.
You're welcome, buddy.
I
I did it
think
just
you
for
were
you.
talking about him. Oh, you know what? I think Chuck is imagining you shaving your ass with my Manscaped.
Well,
You're
if
welcome. You are
jump in a
welcome
time
for the
machine,
image.
jump in a time machine, go back about a year and a half, and buy a Manscaped so that you can get a little commission off of it. That'd just be peachy.
Chuck got one for free as well. I made sure everybody got one.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah, I take care of my guys. I take care of
You
my
too.
guys. That's for
In
sure.
more ways than one. I'm impressed.
I know. You know, how many other men, Chuck, can you say have looked out for the hair on your nuts? Because you can honestly say that JB has looked out for the hair on your nuts.
And let me tell you something, those leather pants he wears on stage, they chafe. And
Oh,
shaving things down and adding some cornstarch, that's the only way to fly, dude. That's the only way to fly.
Oh man, yeah, for sure.
If only, honestly, if only Clancy Brown's character in this show had taken that approach, I think he would have held it together. I think he would have made it, bro.
Yeah, probably. I can see that.
You know what's interesting to me about this
Yeah.
episode? You already told me this episode really has nothing to do with the comic books, but man, they packed a lot of exposition in here.
Yeah, it's weird because the basic premise of the story, and when we get into the comic book, I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but like the basic premise of this comic book is maybe 5% of the story that you get in the
Right.
show. And there's so much more that's added on to it. The chemical plant, the reasoning behind it, the wanting to preserve this and that, and make things not fake. None of that shit is in the comic book.
Right.
It really fucking is insane. And going back to this TV episode, I mean, we get, basically, there's people dying, they can't figure out why. And, we get to the point where you really start to realize that our main character, who is Mr. Layson, played by Clancy Brown, is basically kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And he is killing off people. And like they don't really give any kind of explanation with it.
And you don't realize it until the end of the episode. Like you don't, when there's a grand reveal. Anyways, well, I'll let you keep going.
We do get an awesome zombie kill, which I think Andy probably really loves seeing that one personally.
Well, I mean, look, watching Clancy Brown swing an axe and take a head off one more time, that was, why they did that. That was clearly a callback to Highlander.
Yeah, 100%. But either way, we get to the end of the episode and we get a little bit of Cheech coming back there and getting rid of this evil side of him through a voodoo ritual where we start to see at the end he's trying to basically preserve that side of him from rotting because it's literally dead. Now, to go ahead and give you guys a comparison, this comic book is from the Vault of Horror number 26. I would show you, but I am afraid to open the comic book. I read digital copies of it because these comic books are old and I don't want to fuck them up because I spent too much money. But anyways, it's the basic premise of this comic book and the main differences, because there's no point going through the entire story twice. This is about a schizophrenic man who's trying, like this whole story in the comic book is him not showing his face and talking to a doctor. and explaining the story to him from that point of view. But he is trying to get healed, and by a voodoo doctor who kills his evil side. So he's hasn't really killed anybody yet per se, but he's, like almost. Goddamn, it's hard to talk about these comic books in a way. So like, keep in mind this: these comic books were written between like 1950 and 1955, and a lot of the issues that you were getting in this comic in this kind of time period was like, like he wanted to get rid of his evil side basically because like he was this close to like beating his girlfriend. Woman beating type stuff going on. And she was like nervous and didn't want to see him anymore, shit like that. But he went to see this voodoo doctor to help him get rid of his evil side of his body, and the voodoo ritual does work. And in the comic book, when he goes and does that, it's not like the TV show where it's like, oh, half his face is messed up. No, in the comic book, when the voodoo doctor gets rid of his evil side, half of his body is fully decayed. And then that's when you realize that, and my bad by this, because he wasn't talking to like a doctor, he was talking to a funeral director. But by the end of it, you realize that he is actually talking to this funeral director because he wants the funeral director to embalm the dead half of his body so that he is not just decaying.
Right.
And it gives the comic book a much more creepy feel. Like, don't get me wrong, the TV episode has like a weird creepy vibe to it and everything, but the comic book I felt was a lot fucking darker.
Mm-hmm.
And what was this episode about again? About everything, Jake. In fact, you can check this episode out, and like most Tales from the Crypt episodes, watch them on YouTube or spend $45 and buy the entire box set. I mean, it's pretty cheap. It's very reasonably priced, and I strongly suggest if you are a fan of horror, even in the most mild sense of it, Tales from the Crypt is a lot of fun to check out.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you see a lot of boobs, and who doesn't like boobs?
I'm just going to throw this out to you. This is something that we've talked about before. What they tried to do with the Tale from the Crypt TV show is not only fit this entire story that was illustrated in the comic book into 30 minutes. And I mean, some of the comics, obviously that'd be easier than others because some of the comics really pack a lot in. And so being able to tell that entire story in 30 minutes can be an issue, but also they were trying to modernize it as they go. And that has been good.
That's the biggest thing right there, is modernizing something from the 50s.
And
plus, you got to keep in mind that
this one, I think that this one lost a lot with the modernization.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Another thing that I want to let people know, if you're not familiar with it, is that most of these comic book issues, the issue isn't about the whole episode. If you go through a Tales from the Crypt comic book, you got multiple stories. Yeah. So an actual issue is basically like you read my comic book. So, I mean, it's the exact same kind of format type thing. Like, an episode is based off of 6 to 7 pages on the average.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and keep in mind this too, like when you were doing a script for like a film, the industry average is usually 1 page is 1 minute. So if 1 page is 1 minute and they're turning 6, 7 pages into 22, 23, you're obviously adding a lot there to begin with. And considering the modernization, kind of like what you were saying, it's like they only go in, they read the story, and they're like, well, the core principle is this guy has an evil side, and he gets rid of it through a voodoo ritual. Well, then we'll take this basic premise, throw the rest away, make a new story around it. And don't get me wrong, I still appreciate it. It's still fun. They don't do a horrible job with it, but there is something lost there if you're a fan of the comic books. That's for sure.
It's much like this episode of Tales from the Podcast. There's a lot of things added that aren't necessary.
Yes. But if this episode causes 2 or 3 people to watch Warriors of Virtue, it was worth it.
So for me, bro, in this episode, there were a few key takeaways, things that I didn't really realize or understand until after I'd finished the episode.
Yeah.
He obviously recognizes. So within the first scene, by the way, the character of the detective, he's just the detective. You don't
Yeah.
even really realize, like, I had to kind of make an assumption that he was a cop in the first scene because it was just sort of, it wasn't acting the way a cop would act in a morgue.
No. Well, I
He's
mean,
reaching down, he's stuffing his
he's not
fingers
the
into,
greatest actor.
he's not, but stuff like, the dead guy is laying on the coroner's table and he reaches his fingers down and like pulls up some goo, and it's his bare fingers and he's sniffing it and he's like, I don't know what this stuff
Right.
is. And then Clancy Brown's character has to then say, oh, that's actually a chemical that we produce. It's a preservative. And so,
I do like how he keeps pain medicine with him.
we're, yeah, right.
In his fucking pocket.
Roger asks for, hey, do you have an aspirin? And the detective's like, oh yeah, here you go, and just literally tosses him a bottle. And then Clancy Brown tips the entire bottle into his mouth. Like, it just weird shit like that,
Right.
It kind of throws you out of the moment.
You would hear the pills shaking every step he took if he carried a whole bottle of aspirin with him.
Right. And so just little stuff like that, I mean, they easily could have,
Jeff.
because the coroner's in the room with them. And so it would have been easy for him to just go, oh, hey, this guy's asking for an aspirin. Do you have any? And just have the coroner be like, yeah, here you go. So little stuff like that wouldn't have pulled us out of the story quite so much right from the beginning, but it's pretty clear. I shouldn't say it's clear. I mean, it's clear that something is going on. You see the first dead guy and he's got the pattern painted on his chest, right?
Yeah.
And you can't really tell if Roger recognizes it or not, but he definitely pulled the sheet back to see it. And so there is kind of a question there of like, I wonder if he recognizes it or not. And then they do the flashback to the rainforest in Brazil. And, they're trying to help this voodoo doctor with
you notice how that drawing was like completely irrelevant though. Like they never go back to anything with that.
But they do, because the guy, the native, that they're trying to turn into a zombie in the next scene, he has those same markings on his chest. So
all right. So when they talk about that guy though, they're like, yeah, they were added after death.
Right. So, but that sort of is like,
but it wasn't on any of the other people that he killed.
Yes, you're right, but
it's like it was just for that one scene when you're getting to the show the next rainforest scene. It connected just like a tiny bit, but it's like they made it sound like the original part of it like almost was like, oh, this is his calling card type thing.
Yeah.
No, it was just to set up literally the next scene, only that, and then they quit doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. That is a good point. Because you only saw it in those first two scenes. Right. The real twist for me was when you realize that one of his original partners, I believe it was Alex, and they didn't even hardly touch on it. It was just sort of glazed over. Clancy Brown's character, Roger, he just walked over to Alex, and Alex is in the casket, just like the first native guy was that they were turning into a zombie. And he's like, no, don't do this. I'm your best friend. Sorry, man. They require a sacrifice and you're going to have to be the one. And so, clearly something else is going on there. Right from that moment, you basically know Alex is the quote unquote bad guy, the one that's coming back to haunt Roger, if it was even real. I mean, there is kind of that question as well. At the end, what was he seeing that was real? What was he seeing that wasn't real? Right. And so they leave it with a little bit of that open, but he finds in his home, he finds the thing painted across his wall. What did it say? I have not forgotten or forgiven. Right. Mm-hmm. And he finds the voodoo doll, and the voodoo doll is one half like a businessman, and then the other half is necrotic or whatever.
Right.
And so it's setting it up to look like someone's doing this to him, but then by the end it calls that into question. And so that is one thing they did with the story that I liked, because when it ended, it made me question it, where I was like, oh shit, was he the one that
Right.
was doing all of that? Was it his evil side that was doing all of it and no one else was involved? And would that then make his interactions with Alex a uh, hallucination? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Um,
Or a hallucination.
Hallucination. There you go. But then when his assistant called him on the phone, again, very end scene, she says, "Hey, we found two bodies," which is the one person that he beat to death, and then the other person that was his zombie partner, whose head he chopped off. And so, all of those things, they did do a good job of sort of setting up the ending to make you question whether or not what he saw was real, not real. Was he really the one that murdered all of these people? So there was that interesting part. And can I just say, I had to laugh at Alex the zombie, because there was no typical zombie like, oh, I'm a zombie, I'm coming to eat your brains. He
No,
just
it was
showed
more
up.
of like American Werewolf in London.
Yeah,
That
dude,
great
because
guy.
he just shows up and his entire face and body's rotten, and he's just like, "Yo, what's up, Roger? You remember when you
Mhm.
fucked me?"
Yeah, basically. And I agree with you. Like, I think they like sometimes I feel like they kind of rush some of these episodes and they make them at times.
Mhm.
Because I mean, comparing it to the comic book, it's like, to me, it's like everything is supposed to be in his head, and it's all him doing it.
Right.
And that's if you keep true to the source material. The only thing that throws any of that off is when they find two bodies. That is the only thing. And because the zombie body wouldn't be there. If it was him going crazy and, his other half type thing, there wouldn't be that body. It would just be him going kind of nuts.
But
And
did he create that phone call where she said there's two bodies, or was it real?
well, the in the episode, that phone call was real because she brings him what he asked for.
Oh yeah, true. Good point.
So the phone call is real. But and plus at that time when that phone call is happening, his other half is destroyed. So that whole part of the storyline is supposedly over. So
Good
I
point.
mean, it's just it's one of those things where it's like I think they rushed, and I honestly think that if they would have went back and been like, like maybe they just say there's one body. I don't think that was something that was. I just can't see that being something that was left in their purpose.
Purposefully, yeah.
Purposely, yes, yes. But either way, still cool. Yeah, Jeff here. I really gotta watch more Tales from the Crypt. Jeff, you do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you are not booked to do more Tales from the Crypt, which I will change. I will get you on for an episode of that. But if you are watching this next week, which like I said, our show is changing times, will be Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern time. But Jeff will be on. Probably with his wife. I mean, I haven't been told differently yet. We will be talking about the Changeling.
Hell yeah.
So that should be a fun one for sure, for sure. But anyways, Tales from the Crypt with Andy. So, Andy, with this episode, everything that you've read or saw, and what I've told you about the comic book, like, where would you put this episode if you had to rate it?
Again, this one wasn't, I'm hesitant to call it solid. It was entertaining. There was a lot of exposition that didn't need to be there. I mean, they wanted to highlight the fact that he was having bad headaches, but they spent 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know, cumulatively, like over the course of the entire show, just sort of watching him try to quell his headache. And as someone that suffers from chronic migraines, by the way, I understand what that feels like, but there could have been more there. There were times where it moved too fast. There were times where it moved too slow. You get kind of the gist of the story. I don't think it ended badly, but some of the stuff in the middle just wasn't explained quite the way it should have been. Like I said
Right.
at the very beginning of this podcast, I came into it with the expectation of 5 out of 10. It did exceed those expectations. I'm not gonna give it a platinum stamp. I'm probably gonna put this at a 7 out of 10, simply because at the end it made me think. I liked the actors. I thought Clancy Brown did a great job with the little bit of material that he was given.
No, yeah, he did.
This was not a masterpiece from the director. We all know that. But,
No,
as
not
far
not
as
whatsoever.
right, but I think Clancy Brown did a good job of in the beginning of the movie, he was just sort of talking, it wasn't lighthearted, but he was just sort of talking like a normal guy, knowing that Clancy Brown can go super deep and guttural with his voice. And then by the end, some of that starts to come out, like when he's smashing that partner at his firm's face against the
Oh,
table
yeah.
and kills him, and he's, you think you know me, like it's all of the harsh, deep guttural vocals that you expect to get out of Clancy Brown, like those start breaking through. And so I did like that part. But again, that doesn't have anything to do with the writing of the episode. That has to do with what kind of an actor Clancy Brown is. So, I can't really combine that in with the episode, but you kind of have to, because he was a good fit for some
That role for
specific
sure.
scenes, if not the whole role.
Right.
So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It held my interest. I may even watch it a second time, to be honest, to see if there's anything that was in there that I had missed. But like you said, little stuff like just not enough explanation about what's going on in the rainforest, what these chemicals are, things like the other bodies not having the symbols painted on them. And then at the end, I do feel like it was a mistake for his assistant to say there are two bodies here. I think it should have just been one body if they're trying to sell that this whole thing was in his mind.
Yeah.
And then it would leave all of the plot holes, like where did the voodoo doll come from? How did he get split into his two halves anyways? And so they're kind of painting almost like two stories in one. And instead of leaving you with intrigue, it leaves you with confusion. And that's not good. That's not what
No, not at all.
art's supposed to do. It's not supposed to leave you confused. It's supposed to leave you questioning, but feeling like you have a handle on it, right?
Right. I will say it's not like as bad as some others, I mean,
Mhm.
that feeling of confusion that you get is very light in this case.
Yeah.
I will
It was
say
more
that.
than slight for me, but I
But
hear you.
but you know what I mean, though. I mean, like there's things that you watch and you're just like, what the fuck? Like the whole
Yeah.
fucking movie. Like compared to some of that stuff, it's like, well, yeah, this has its little flaws in that point. But
Yeah.
I mean, 7 out of 10 is still a fucking pretty good rating, regardless. Um, and Jeff, he says that's confirmed. Well, confirm it for me, man. Let me know. I'm excited either way to talk about that movie.
Look at this, making deals on the pod.
Well, I mean, I have booked you on an episode on the pod. Well,
It's
so,
also true.
so I mean, we have scheduled things like that. This is what it is. As far as this episode for me, I think you basically like. Well, I mean, we've talked about this one, and I think this is one where you and I basically agree with each other like 100% on it. I'm going to also give this one a 7 out of 10. The changes, I mean, fuck, dude. I mean, yeah, we've been talking about this for a while today, and I mean, I think we've both come to the conclusion that we kind of like really agree with each other on those changes and some of the small flaws that they made with this episode.
Mhm.
I will say, as far as something different, is that I did enjoy the comic book a lot more than the actual episode on this one. And I've noticed that that's definitely a pretty big trend with me. I'm not sure if it's just me or if the comic books made more sense
Mhm.
because they're tough to read nowadays because there are slight issues that would not slide in today's environment in books written in the 50s. It's just that simple. So there's some things in there that are like hard to, read and adjust for modern times. But I mean, considering the material that they're left, I mean, they didn't do a horrible job. I still had a lot more fun, like I said, with the comic book.
Yeah.
A 7 out of 10 is pretty good. I mean, we had some pretty good acting from Clancy Brown. Honestly, like going through and breaking down the acting though too, it's like that was Clancy Brown and Cheech Marin, hands down the only ones in this episode that could really act.
Yeah.
And Cheech Marin, even though his part is really low, like just there's not a lot going on. His role in this is I'm trying to think of the best way to word it, but his role is small, but his performance is very underrated. You would go into his thing like, okay, well, Cheech Marin's in it's probably gonna be a stupid little bit part. No, for the small role that he plays, you can tell it's like he took that role to fucking heart and he played that character. And as like a voodoo priestess kind of guy, I mean, which you don't see Cheech Marin play something like that. I mean, that to me is like I think he kind of like stole that whole scene. Like he definitely played that part way better than I ever thought he could have. But I still had a lot of fun with it. That's for damn sure. Did you freeze? Uh-oh. I think Andy froze. So we might be having some technical difficulties on Andy's end there. So we'll see if oh, there he is.
Yeah, sorry, calm crap.
Oh. You all right?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. But I mean, overall, though, I still thought it was a fun episode and everything.
Oh, and I'm sorry, just to touch on what you were talking about. Yes, I agree. As much as I love Clancy Brown, I actually think that Cheech Marin set the bar in this episode.
Oh yeah,
because he's so and he's a good. Here's the thing that people don't realize about Cheech. He's a great character actor. He was playing a character during all of the Cheech and Chong movies. You know, he's playing a character in Born in East LA. He was playing a character. Oh my gosh, the dude from Miami Vice, and they did that spin-off show in the mid 2000s. And Cheech Marin was one of the detectives that worked with this washed-up detective from the 80s. Anyways, I forget what the name is, but Cheech was fantastic in that. And so that's kind of an interesting thing for me is watching him in this role. You're 100% right, dude. He fucking dove into it, and I think he set the bar. A very, very close second for me is Clancy Brown. Everyone else trailing back with their acting.
Oh, fuck.
I am going to
so far trailing.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there. They threw away way too much of the comic. I know you've already touched on this, but I mean, just imagine they had started the episode with this dude sitting in the funeral director's office, and all you see is just like Clancy Brown from the one side, and he's talking, and he,
Oh, they don't even do that, dude. He's sitting back in the shadows talking. He's like, "Don't look at me. You need to talk to me. You might not take this job."
Right.
They set it up so great.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like they should not have left those components out. Modernized or not, it was a mistake to leave those components out because it would have built that mystery up from the beginning instead of just weird, like first 3-4 scenes of you just going, what the fuck? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, I will say this, and obviously if you go back, you'll notice it's, kind of a thing, but on the comic book stuff, like there's a lot of stories in the comic books that they were never episodes. Yep. I mean, there's way more stories than there were episodes. Way more. A lot of the episodes have some kind of huge flashback.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, in a way, I mean, you don't want every single episode to be exactly like that. So I can see the point of getting rid of that sometimes. But I think in this case, I think it wasn't as good in this case. Sometimes it works out better than others, but in this one, I don't. I think the flashback scene with that is one of the things that really kind of hold this one together.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's that fine line, man. You're modernizing it. What do you keep? What do you get rid of? And They got rid of stuff that they never should have gotten rid of. And
Right. They
and
should have
even
left
just
that woman beating in the beginning.
not
I'm,
look,
I'm
keep,
joking.
keep all of the chemical factory shit in.
The
Tighten it
chemical
up.
factory stuff wasn't even in the comic book.
I understand that, but like if that's the direction you want to go, fine. Keep that stuff in, but literally just tighten up some of those scenes. Don't show 3 minutes of him wetting a rag and wiping his face and neck and trying to get rid of this headache, and all of that stuff. Like chop that out and instead insert 3 minutes of him basically sitting there. You don't see Clancy Brown's character head on, or like you said, maybe not even from the side. Like you just only see him in the shadows, but you can tell that it's Clancy Brown's character. And start that off where you're now telling a narrative. Like that's the way it should have gone. And that end scene should have been him going, well, what do you say? Do you take on the job? And then that's when you get the face reveal. You get what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I personally would even like to see it a bit further. Like sometimes when you see stuff like this, it's like, well, I get this is great, but like, you got 30 minutes almost. So like, let's see the next step that they didn't write about. Like,
Right.
let's see what happens when they try to embalm half a body.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, but you don't get that in the comic. I wouldn't necessarily need to see that in the episode. I guess the gist.
I understand we don't need to see it, but maybe I want to see it.
I get you, but if they were trying to just get it all done in 30 minutes, I would have been happy with not seeing that, and also not seeing the long drawn out scenes where they keep trying to amplify, he's got this headache and everything is so bad. Like they could have tightened all of that up and added scenes at the beginning and the middle that added more.
You like how in the 90s a headache was like borderline schizophrenia? Because that's what the disease was. I mean, they portray it as a headache, but in the comic book, it's full blown schizophrenia. Like it's wow.
Yeah,
like,
you may think you have a headache, but you're actually a microwave potato.
Yeah, it's really fucking insane. Anyways, though, man, I as always, I have a great time talking with you about these things. If you do watch Warriors of Virtue, like I said, let me know. I gotta talk to you about it.
Well, don't get a boner just yet. I'm gonna see what I can do. Okay.
I got it if you want it.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and promote your show, promote everything you got going on, what's coming up in the future, and we can just wrap this up.
Yeah, dude. So everybody can come and check me out over at the Horsepower Hour. Our social media is literally at the Horsepower Hour. My TikTok is the _ horsepower _ hour. I haven't posted over there in a while because my account has been severely restricted. I found out the hard way that TikTok does not like street racing footage. And so I've been banned multiple times. And now every time I post a video, it gets immediately flagged. Seeing what I can do there. I encourage you to still come and check it out because we've got tons of videos that are very fun. I just got to figure out what I can post that TikTok isn't going to immediately flag. But Instagram, Facebook, it's all at the Horsepower Hour. Of course, we have the group. We just finished an episode of the Horsepower Hour tonight, and one of the fan submissions for our Deal or Doob, where we go through, we look at a used car and we decide, is it a good deal or a bad deal? If it's a good deal, it's a smoking deal. If it's a bad deal, it's smoking a doob, because that's what the owner's doing. By the way, tonight we had a doob among doobs. My hard number for where I would buy it personally was $400, and the guy's asking $4,000. So we've got some interesting stuff going on there, and it's a very active group, and we encourage anyone to come and check it out and hang out. Those fake commercials that you heard me put earlier, those are our fake sponsors. I try to have a new one every week, and we have a lot of fun over there. And I encourage anyone that's listening, if they like cars, if they like comedy, come and check the podcast out. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna learn something. I mean, even we did a lot of funny stuff tonight with the podcast. We also went over some real serious issues that the automotive industry is having right now. Ford in February sent a letter out to the dealerships saying, hey, you have to stop gouging people with these dealer markups or we'll be forced to take action. And then 4 days ago, Ford announced that they are taking their EV sales, all of their electric vehicles, to a strictly online sales platform. The dealerships don't even get a shot at them. So we go over some really
I
interesting.
gotta actually talk to you about something about that after the show.
Yeah, we should. And it's so we cover some very interesting and relevant things. It can be automotive history, it can be engineering, it can be current automotive news. More often than not, it's all of those things spread over an hour. And if you are into that, I do encourage you to come and check it out.
Very, very cool. So everyone, please check out what Andy's doing, man. I mean, other than just being an all-around amazing guy, if you're into cars, I mean, you will have a fucking blast talking with him. Hell, I can't even say that I'm like fully in on vehicle shit, but I mean, I have a lot of fun listening to what Andy's doing and what he has going on, and you learn a lot, that's for sure. Jeff, when are you guys rebooting the Tales from the Crypt series? They got the rights. There are issues. If there is a new series, you are not getting the same Crypt Keeper because that's still owned by HBO. There is so many issues with that. It's like it's still a huge toss-up at the moment. But the Gaines family does have the rights to the names. So it's kind of one of those things where it's if there is anything, we're probably going to get this guy, who is the comic book version of the Crypt Keeper. So, I mean, the comic book version and what you see in HBO are entirely fucking different. Anyways, though, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for checking out what we're doing over here. Like I said, next week, The Changeling with Jeff and probably Leanne. We will see. I'm just going to go ahead and say it'll be Jeff and Leanne, or it'll be Leanne and Jeff. So there you go, Jeff. Hopefully you like that. And I know that me and Chuck both really, really like The Changeling. And definitely, guys, get a hold of me about the Warriors of Virtue. That is a very, very important thing. And yes, I think it's that's a tough one too, because I mean, it's all fucked up. That's for sure. And she'll kick me off to be on by herself. I love that idea, Jeff. Anyways, Andy, dude, thank you once again for coming on, buddy. We'll chat here in a few minutes. Thanks everyone for watching. Check out the podcast. Check out my comic book. I mean, you can get to the whole thing from talesfromthepodcast.com. Scroll down, all the social media links are there. Everything is on that page. If you buy the comic book, I hope you enjoy it. I mean, buy 2 of them and you can masturbate on one. There's so many things you can do with it. If you buy 10 of them, you can stack them up and stagger them, and it looks cool.
You were kind enough, by the way, to send me my comic books in plastic sheets so I can masturbate over them and then just wipe them down.
Well, I mean, I for being an indie comic book, I very much so professionally did all my shipping.
Yes, you did.
And,
yes, you did. Hey, by the way, I'm a Kickstarter backer, and I got my 4 comic books, and I covet those. They are up on my shelf right now. So you guys go and check those out. Seriously, JB's doing big things, making big moves, doing some fantastic stuff. So come and support it.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you. And with that being said, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you next week on Saturday, new time. And with that being said, the crypt is closed.
Thanks for listening, kiddies. You're all a scream.